Later. Yeah. I'm the one who said the Good afternoon. Let me start by apologizing for the lateness. We are coordinating too many things today, and I want to thank you for being present within us. So we would start by introducing the two vice presidential candidates, Governor Okorocha and Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed. Please a round of applause for them. So I will give the microphone to Governor Okorocha, who would read the speech. This is an epoch-making occasion, and then this is a very special occasion in Nigeria, and we are very happy that the two of them from two leading political parties have agreed to do something about the state of the nation, and they will be speaking to you about it. But before we do that, I will now rise for our national anthem. Thank you.
Nigeria's called to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve without our mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to truly thank you for coming to hear us. I'm here with my brother vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Dr. Ahmed. On Saturday, the 25th of February 2023, Nigerians from different parts of our great country braced all manner of challenges to cast their votes for their preferred candidates. And having cast their votes, they were expectantly awaiting the results of the presidential and National Assembly elections. We wish to state for the records that last week's elections was a sham. It was neither free nor fair. What played out yesterday at the National Collation Center exposes the INEC National Chairman for playing to a predetermined script. Our position remains that the election and transmission of the results must be in tandem with the Electoral Act and the INEC guidelines. There is no doubt that INEC is under a statutory obligation to transmit election results electronically. Paragraph 38 of the INEC manual made pursuant to Section 149 of the Electoral Act 2022 and the 1999 Constitution as amended provides for this. That paragraph, which deals with the transmission of results at the polling units, is crucial and it imposes statutory obligations on the part of INEC to upload polling unit results on its portal. There is no doubt that polling unit results are the pyramid upon which other results are built. Therefore, it is required that the moment polls come to a close and the results are declared, the results must be uploaded on INEC server or portal. Paragraph 38 of INEC Manual 2022 made pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended and Section 149 of the Electoral Act 2022 provides that on completion of all the polling unit voting and results, the presiding officer shall 1. Electronically transmit or transfer the results of the polling units direct to the collation system as prescribed by the Commission. 2. Use the beavers to upload a scanned copy of the Form EC8A to the INEC Results Viewing Portal, that is the IRA, as prescribed by the Commission. 3. Take the beavers and the original copy of each of the forms in envelope to the registration area and ward collation officer in the company of security agents. The polling agents may accompany the presiding officer to the registration area and ward collation center. It is mandatory and compulsory. INEC has no option. So the failure to upload results and follow the procedure set out in paragraph 38 of the manual made pursuant to the Electoral Act 2022 is a fundamental breach that has the potential of rendering the election results that did not follow those procedures null and void. For clarity, Section 64(4) A and B of the Electoral Act 2022 specifically provides thus: a collation officer or returning officer at an election shall collate and announce the result of an election subject to his or her verification and confirmation that the A number of accredited voters stated on the collated results are correct and consistent with the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from the polling units under Section 472 of this Act. And B, votes stated on the collated results are correct and consistent with the votes or results recorded and transmitted directly from the polling units under Section 64 of this Act. Consequent on the above Section 64(4) of the Electoral Act 2022, any result announced by INEC is controversial, illegal, and of no consequence unless there are results already transmitted directly from the polling units. So, procedurally, INEC cannot continue to announce results that are yet to be transmitted as expressly stated in the relevant section of the Electoral Act. This law is that the law is that where the law has set out the procedure to be followed, that procedure and no other must be followed. The argument that INEC guidelines have no force of law is idle and wayward arguments. This is not even the question of alteration of the results. It is a question of non-compliance with mandatory statutory provisions. The argument that it is only when the Chief Electoral Officer of the Federation announces the winner of the presidential election that the results can be uploaded on the INEC portal cannot be correct. There must be uploading of results at the polling centers after the polling officers have announced the winner at the polling units. Finally, we call on the Commission to tread on the path of honor by cancelling the election outright and commence the process of a fresh election that will not only be credible, but that will be seen to be credible by Nigerians. And we are also aware that in Section 26 of the Electoral Act, all INEC officials, including the chairman, are supposed to have sworn to an oath of neutrality and impartiality, and we expect that they should keep to the laws of this nation. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a few words now from Dr. Baba Ahmed, and then we'll take some questions.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here with you, though not for a very pleasant occasion. In my capacity as Vice Presidential Candidate of Labour Party, I hereby adopt the submission of my brother, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, Vice Presidential Candidate of the PDP. Having said this, our national chairman have spoken. Before then, our agents had done their bit. They made us proud by holding INEC chairman to a promise that the results will be reviewed, but sadly, after declaration of results. And they also walked out in protest, were in order with their actions. I would like to say that after some time today or tomorrow, we should expect another more elaborate press briefing by our respective principals, who are very much in touch with us and on the same page with us regarding this press briefing. Fellow Nigerians, let me draw our attention to some fundamental definitions. Democracy does not merely mean that you have 3 arms of government. That is not democracy. The executive must be truly elected. If the government is not truly, genuinely elected, you do have a constitutional problem. Now, we are witnessing the fact that the next government is going to be built on outright illegality. This illegality has been so eloquently presented by my brother Governor Okowa. The sections have been clearly spelled out. Attention of the whole world has been drawn to this. What INEC has accelerated itself to doing is to put itself in a trance to promote illegality and thereafter call for the courts to resolve the illegality that they have worked on. Nowhere in the world where there is respect for rule of law do people easily and hurriedly tell others with impunity, go to court, go and seek redress. The courts are final. They should have that respect. Whoever is in a hurry to tell people to go to court know what they have arranged at the courts. This is unacceptable. A number of things have also happened. The international observers in different categories have expressed their candid opinion to the dissatisfaction and the legal breach which INEC insists it will continue to do. And there is no impunity as such. We agree that it has not been uploaded. We agree that it's a legal breach, but we're INEC, your political parties, your ordinary Nigerians. We shall therefore continue to breach this law because there's nothing you can do. Because you're Nigerians and because we're INEC. We shall announce the candidate of our choice and you are free to go to court. This is not rule of law. This is not democracy. Now, international observers have, civil societies have, our revered leaders have spoken. The National Peace Committee released a statement yesterday. And just for the record, His Excellency General Abdulsalam Abubakar is a highly respected leader throughout the world. He gave rise to the Fourth Republic. He stood for justice and equity in 2015 when this government was coming to power. Against all odds, General Abdulsalam has stood his grounds for peace, but peace through equity and justice. His committee spoke. One of the most respected Africans in Nigeria today, President Olusegun Obasanjo, a champion of democracy, spent 3 years in prison for the sake of democracy, served 11 years as head of state and as elected president in Nigeria, spoke. These are not people to be ignored. Political party agents walked out, while illegality is brazenly being promoted. This cannot continue. Now, when everything is at stake, we have the right to deploy all that is legal and constitutional at our means. The promise of INEC chairman to review after declaring a winner is a joke. We will complete this process of illegality and then we'll go and review and come up with recommendations on how we shall, in the next 4 years, not breach that illegality again. This is a joke. That leaves us with only one option, which is complete outright cancellation of the results, as Governor Okorocha has submitted. Other issues I believe we'll be able to address as we speak along. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we will take a few questions now. Okay, Shim.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Sean Kimale. I'm a reporter with Channels TV. You've laid out your grievance about the process, but we are in the middle of that process. We would like to know, just like Nigerians are watching right now, what would be your 1, 2, 3 submission or suggestion on how to go? Earlier on, there were suggestions as to the INEC chairman stepping aside. But when that happens, what is the process of bringing about a new person into office? There are other offices that have been won by your party and the PDP. What happens to those offices? And you ask for an outright cancellation, and it does look to me that you're asking for a transitional process between what has become an unacceptable conduct by INEC from your point. If you can lucidly tell us, what are the 1, 2, 3 steps you think the nation can look forward to in getting out of what you described as a sham of a conduct. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. This country, last year, we were so excited. Everybody, the old, the young, and everybody was very excited about the Electoral Act. And I'm also happy to say that the chairman of INEC was also very excited about that Electoral Act, because we know that at a point in time, during the debate, we were unlikely to have the Electoral Act and to have it into law. But eventually, the bill was passed and it was assented to. And we thank President Muhammad Buhari for that. And it's very clear, you cannot breach the law. So when you're talking about how do we go, for me, a lot of calls can be made. But truly at this point in time, it's clearly stated in that Electoral Act what must be done, and shall is mandatory. All election results must be transmitted at the polling unit level. And that is the basis, is those results from the over 176,000 units that we can use through the process of coalition. So if you have not transmitted those results, it means that you have actually not conducted the election under the very law that we all applauded. So the right thing to do is for the INEC chairman to truly go forward and cancel the elections. Unfortunately, he is not come out to tell the world what has happened, why the results were not uploaded. There is a question mark there. He should be truthful. As I said, section 26, he had taken an oath to be neutral and impartial. Therefore, he must speak to Nigerians and tell Nigerians the truth. And the truth is, they could not upload the results. What happened in INEC? Why was it that they could not upload the results? So something is wrong. Something is wrong inside INEC. Either they have connived or their system is down. But they must tell us the truth. If the system was down and they knew it was down, they ought to have postponed the elections. If the system was not down and they did not allow the upload of the results from the units, it means that they have connived and they are no longer neutral and impartial. So under this condition, there is no moral justification for further collation of the results, because it is so expressly stated in that section, the section 64 at 4, and that is 64.4 at A and B, so clearly stated that if the polling unit results are not transmitted, it means truly that there is nothing to compare. So you cannot raise the hope of Nigerians. And I'm sure that we've seen that video where he spoke to Nigerians, because he was under challenge in November. And he spoke to Nigerians very clearly. And we're aware that he was under pressure at some point in time not to transmit results, and the civil society and everybody gave voice to him to enable him stand firm. And now, just on election day, they could not upload results. Something is fundamentally wrong. That means from the beginning, they had already planned the process to fail. But unfortunately for them, they have gone against the very act under which we're supposed to go on with the elections. So if you have failed to go by the law, and that law says it didn't say may, it says shall, it's a mandatory provision, so he knows that the only way out is to cancel it. You cannot say, let me proceed and conclude, then I'll review. Who is reviewing who? This is the chief returning officer. He has the right to take the decisions at this moment. You cannot go back, do something glaringly wrong, and you go back and want to review yourself. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. Nigerians are no fools. We are not fools. So he should do what is right. And that is the only thing that is actually right. So it's not even a question of calling for somebody else. Let him, he knows. He fought for this. He fought for it. The National Assembly gave it to him. President Muhammad Buhari assented to that bill, making it an act of federation.
Yeah.
And now he that asked for it wants to breach the same law. It's very unfortunate that such things can happen in this country. Obviously not. So it's not a question of, what happens to the offices. We are talking about the legality of what has been done. What has been done is based purely on illegality. It has breached our laws. You don't have to wait because he knows. The law didn't come on him. It was not forced on him by the National Assembly. He was actually the champion, supported by civil society. But now he's the one breaching the very law that he fought for. It's a very unfortunate circumstance. In a civilized place, this ought not to be. If he knows that he cannot keep to that which he asked for, he should honestly on his own step aside. That's what we expect. Otherwise, he has to do the right thing. And that actually is the process. So there's no question of a transitional process. If their portal is down and they could not upload, and therefore they cannot compare results, and they know they breach the Constitution, the only honest thing to do is cancel the results and then call for another election day. I know that some people ask, what about the cost? There's no cost to democracy. Whatever is right is right. If this country has to source for money in order to go to give Nigerians a credible election so we can give hope to our country that there's a future for this nation, we have to go on. Even if it involves us borrowing money from any source. Democracy, there's a foundation. As long as that is broken and there's trust deficits in this nation, we will not be able to move forward as a nation.
In courts of law, you would have seen procedures where characters were being formed. So, ladies and gentlemen, the character of this government is that they have been making promises they have no idea about, or they had no idea about. You wouldn't know this until when it comes to the time of delivery. This is not political, this is not campaign. We were promised better security, better economy, and a fight to corruption. None of which we saw. We thought, okay, look, maybe a new government will do it. And then they say, okay, the last thing is that we now promise you credible elections. It was going to be Buhari's saving grace, even at the United Nations General Assembly. That was the only thing he could say after failing in all the promises. Now I'm glad that a gentleman this morning presented incontrovertible evidence to really form the character of this government. They have no idea of the promises they are making. When INEC chairman in November was speaking about how credible and how BVAS was going to work, they didn't even possibly know what BVAS was. They didn't know. This is their character. They make promises about what they have no idea about. Were they in a hurry to spend the money? Was it just about issuing contracts? Who was behind the contracts? Who supplied it? How much did they make? Who and who did they share with? More questions I can raise, but this is not the time for it. We want a credible elections in Nigeria. I'm only trying to tell you the character of this government, whom our fate is in their hands today.
Yes.
But a more specific answer to you, Sean, is that the Constitution provides a range. If I can remember correctly, it's 90 days, not more than 90 days, not less than 30 days to the swearing in of the new administration. This is instructive to us because it has taken cognizance of the fact that there can be bad elections, there can be cancellations, and then you repeat. What we are asking for is not too much, it's practical, it's logical, it's within the law, because I just told you 90 to they have 60 clear days Go and buy beavers wherever it is. Make sure it works. Make sure it works. Not what Governor Okorocha has so elaborately said to you. Right now, it's like a small group of people are sitting somewhere and dictating the fate of this country. You will not have IREF, will not work. We will give you the results to go, amend the results, go to the coalition center. When the coalition center chairman is ready to review, we give him the IREF figures which we have tallied with the fake results given. This is it. Only early this month, there was natural disaster. There was earthquake in Turkey. The president has sworn to rebuild it. Last year there was earthquake in South Africa. They are rebuilding. These are natural disasters. Human disasters are when you have one individual destroying the future of hundreds of millions. They are worse than tornadoes, most powerful tornadoes. They are worse than earthquakes. 60,000 people died in Turkey. Remember, 800,000 people were killed in Rwanda. One individual brought Somalia to its knees. One individual brought Iraq, an ancient civilization, to its knees. One individual brought Libya to a sorry state. We have individuals who have amassed wealth and think they can, in the Eagle Square, disgrace citizen number 1, citizen number 2, citizen number 3, because they have millions of dollars to spend on state governors. And they will come out, hold INEC, control the security, control the judiciary. That is why they are telling you go to court. People are afraid to mention court in civilized societies. The moment you mention court, you say, okay, what do you want? That is the truth of the matter. We are heading, like I told you, when everything is at stake, and right now everything is at stake. My country is at stake. So I'm ready to deploy everything I can within the Constitution, not to let this happen.
Yes. Okay. You can stay there.
My name is Sobina Kalazo. I speak for the Concerned Citizen Society. Yes, please. Now, sir, coming here, there was a young man we saw carrying a placard naked. He was just wearing a trouser saying his future has been sold by INEC. And I also speak for the women in the marketplace, traders and all that. The truth out from morning on Saturday to late in the evening. I want you to speak to them, Nigerians that are watching, giving them encouragement how to come out again, because our agreement is we are not accepting this. How can they be trusted? How can they give their trust again to INEC after now? So I want you to talk to them and tell them there is hope somewhere. Thank you.
This question.
This question I asked.
Is that a question,
How do they come back to the
First, we want to ensure that the process is followed according to the rules of this country. The Electoral Act is very clear. The INEC guidelines are very clear. The Constitution of this country is very clear. It is for us to defend the rights of the people. We are not asking for anything unusual. We are asking for the right thing. Nigerians must collectively stand up for their rights. We're here to continue to talk to the conscience of our people, particularly the INEC chairman and those who work with him. I will continue to emphasize this and to re-emphasize it. He has a moral obligation to save this nation by doing what is right. That was what he was appointed to do, and that is what he ought to do. Any other thing is wrong, and he cannot continue to play with the future of our children. He cannot continue to play with the future of our mothers. And we call upon him to do what is right. I have said earlier, if the law was forced on him, it's different. He fought for the law along with the civil society organization, for which we are truly very grateful to our civil society members across this nation. They fought for this, and he was with them all through on this. Why would you go through a fight? And we're all excited. Internationally, the global country was excited that this time we're going to have the right. He traveled overseas, even to Chatham House, to the United States, to speak about a credible election, premised on the law that have been put forth. The same man who fought for the law is going against it. We are speaking out to the Nigerian people. We're speaking to all. They want to speak to the conscience of the INEC chairman. And I hope he hears us. Because dignity is important. No matter how much money you have, no matter what you think you are, until you're a man of integrity, having sworn to an oath, he's just got nothing.
Thank you.
So I just hope that he will save his name. He's already down, but he still has an opportunity
To do the right
to
thing.
save that name by doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's very, very clear. In the first instance, I talked about that section of the Electoral Act, and the Electoral Act was all encompassing. Oath of neutrality. All staff, electoral officers, presiding officers, and return officers. And he is the chief return officer, so he's one of those persons. And security officers, taking part in the conduct of an election, shall affirm or swear to an oath of loyalty and neutrality, as in the second schedule. He knows what is right. He has to save Nigeria. It is only when he does what is right that we can be sure that we truly have a nation of our own. It's only when he does what is right that the children of this country, the youth of this country, will realize that there is still hope and that there's a nation, Nigeria, that they can call their own. We appeal to him that he should not dash the hopes of millions of youths in this country, because he will be bringing a curse on himself and his generation. And I don't believe that he ought to do that. He's a man who fought for what was right along with others. There is nothing, no amount of pressure for anybody, no amount of inducement for anybody should cause him to do what is wrong. There is a law very clearly stated in section 64(4) AB. I'm going through that, even to that section 64, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's very, very clear. He knows what is. I guess he knows what is in the law. He also drew the guidelines in section 38. He just has to keep to what is right. He has to save this nation by causing a cancellation and putting a stop to the further collision that is going on. That is the only way we can truly secure the future of this nation. And as for Nigerians who are waiting, I believe that Nigerians know what is right to be done. We cannot sit and watch and allow one man or a team of men to destroy the future of this nation.
Real peace is not the absence of violence, it is the presence of justice.
Good.
We cannot continue to make the job of those destroying Nigeria easy. Each time we come out to tell Nigerians, calm down, let it pass, the more we tell Nigerians to be peaceful, the more the bad elements perfect their instruments and systems of corruption, of constitutional and legal abuses. For how long are we going to continue to do that? In the most advanced democracies, you have human beings chaining themselves to highways because toxic materials are being transported through their territories. This is legal. This is constitutional. This is not violence. Only 2 months ago in Germany, you saw people, environmentalists protesting against coal mines, have stayed there in excess of 6 months until the court ruled against them. The police moved in to remove them from occupying that place. And this is legal. For how long are we going to tell Nigerians continue to sit down and be cheated? You are being cheated, allow yourselves to be cheated because you are Nigerians. It doesn't make sense. And you, the bad elements, continue to do because Nigerians are going to be patient. Governments have fallen in Africa because of the price of bread went up. The entire Arab world, 11, 12 years ago, went up in crisis because a young man burned himself in broad daylight. Anybody waiting to hear call to arms from ourselves will never hear it. We're peaceful people. He will never hear. Anybody who wishes to change what we're saying, what I am saying, is welcome to try it. I will never call for violence. I will continue to say that democracy belongs to the people who can practice it. Good governance belongs to the people who can demand it. Dividends of democracy belong to those who can take it. It is left for Nigerians to do these things I mentioned. There's nothing unconstitutional, nothing illegal about the gentleman you mentioned on the street and millions joining him. After all, what is being done about the illegality that we spoke about? Right now, to the best that I know, let me tell you that there is 178,606 illegalities committed on 25th February 2023. All the polling units that did not upload to IREF is a constitution, it is a legal breach. It's a breach of the Electoral Act. Then there's 8,000 plus criminal acts. Any polling ward or probation officer that violated sections 64, 4, and 5 because it states clearly he or she shall only enter after having verified from the beavers directly transmitted. These are constitutional breaches. These are legal breaches. This is what Nigerians should be after, not about Nigerians demanding their rights. It is not violence if Nigerians serve notice, come out peacefully. It is not violence. It is not any break. You cannot tell Nigerians to sit down and watch everything go down the drain. This country is too beautiful. It's too blessed.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure most of us have lived in other countries and come back to Nigeria because Nigeria is true. And that is why I say, when all is at stake, as we have now, people like me are ready to deploy all constitutional means to see that we take back our country.
Thank you, sir.
I like what Governor Kubwa said. The gentleman, Mahmoud Yakubu, he is an exalted common civil servant. And this is a technical description I'm giving with due respect.
Yes, sir.
He has no powers to break law. He has no powers to make laws. What INEC chairman has been doing, he has been making laws by deciding to continue with legal breaches. I repeat, what INEC has said is that, yes, we've heard you. The laws have been broken. Please resume your seat. Like they say to behead your hand. Resume your seat, we've heard you. We are going to continue to break this law until we finish breaking the law and announce a government based on illegality.
Then we'll come back to you.
Then we'll come back to you. And your question, you're asking me that Nigerians should not dress with we should not come out with other t-shirts? Or market women should not? And we should tell them not to? Hell no.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to take 2 more questions. Okay, Amaka, we are kidding now. From Alliance Television.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, my colleagues. My name is Amaka Ude-Walker. I report for Rise News. I want to actually appreciate you, gentlemen, for the languages you've used this afternoon, really trying to calm the tension which is palpable all across the country. But my question directly to you this afternoon. I have just returned from the APC where they had a presser there, the spokespersons had a presser, and Festus Keyamo in particular says, what your parties are demanding for are alien to the law, and if it goes ahead, that if INEC goes ahead with cancellation like you are demanding, it will result to abortion of democratic practices. I am giving you their exact words this afternoon, and of course we even heard someone said it's even treasonous if the INEC chairman attempts to do that. And this is 2 opposing views. You have yours and they have theirs. And it's up to the INEC chairman who we're waiting for to respond and see which way forward. But my question to you this afternoon is, if he refuses your demand, which is cancellation number 1, aside from his resignation, which you have called for, what next?
What next?
For your parties?
Thank you.
That is my question. Thank you.
This is my question too.
I listened carefully to the names you mentioned. If Tinubu speaks, if Shetima speaks, we'll respond to them. Correct.
Never. That's the word. Never. That's the word. The word is never.
Then your second question as to what next?
Yeah, what next?
I relate what you asked to what the gentleman asked and my long, laborious answers. Nigeria belongs to who? To Nigerians.
Yes.
What did I say about democracy? It belongs to those who can practice it.
That is true.
That
is true.
Okay, African Report, Eniola,
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, gentlemen. You've asked for the cancellation of results. I want to find out from you, will you be approaching the court to enforce this, or will you be applying for maybe an ex parte order, an interim injunction, anything like that? Thank you very much.
We have asked for a cancellation of the result because that actually will be the saving grace at this moment for Yakubu Mahmoud, who is the chairman of INEC. I will believe that in right conscience he should do what is right. And we're hoping that in the position that he occupies, and with what efforts he had put in the past, and what he had told Nigerians, what he had told the world over that he was going to do, he should only do what is right. We are hoping that he will do what is right. And that actually is the right course to do. But if he fails to do that, our options are numerous. We don't have to come to you on that at the moment. We'll let you know as we progress.
You need to understand that The process is still on. Where's the gentleman who asked the question?
I'm here.
Oh, I thought you were making noise. You need to understand, this process is still on. It becomes legal only after the declaration.
That's true.
And that's why I told you, if INEC chairman said he will review after declaring whether it's a joke, the moment he declares, only the courts of law can do anything about the election. Remember, we were both in the Senate. We're always advised by legal experts. What they're saying is a joke. He probably doesn't know what he's saying, just like not knowing, never mind that he's a professor. I respect professors. I belong to the ivory tower. Anybody who could make the kind of promises that Dino Belay played yesterday, only for us to come on Saturday morning and you cannot, then you have no idea what you're saying. He probably has no idea what he's saying that he will review after declaring. He has no idea what he's saying. Albeit being a professor. Look, wait. The process is still on. Okay. It is still administrative. It's still within the commission. If I were to use an example, we rented this facility for the purpose of this press conference. And if you read the paperwork, it should be provided with electricity so that we will have light and air conditioning. Yeah. If you come in here and there is no electricity, it is within the power of the management of this hotel to cancel this room, and give you another room. The presidential election, cancel it and give you Lagos or showroom that has electricity.
Yes, sir.
We have come to Plateau Room. That is the 25th Saturday 25th February elections, and there was no power. There was no beavers, there was no IREF. So there was no power in this room. It behoves on the management of Hilton to cancel this room. It behoves on INEC to cancel that election. Give us Lagos or showroom that has power, that has the facility, light, air conditioning, and audio. That is, and it is administrative. It becomes legal after that. I just told you that the Constitution, the law, is conscious of these kind of things. That's why we give 60 days. They have 60 days to go wherever and find viewers and make sure it works. We hold these elections again, make sure that all over the country, the moment they finish elections, they snap as provided by the law. Instantly they are transmitted directly. When they go to the registration areas, which are ward collation units, do not make any entry until you verify from IREB. What happened on Saturday was not an election, my good friend. What happened on Saturday was an army of fraudsters, electoral fraudsters, that did their job. Nigerians, through us, are coming out to say that this will not stand. The first thing we've said is that cancel it. And cancel shall it be. They are taking calculated risks with the lives of 213 million people. Thank you. When Rwanda went up in flames, they were playing, they didn't think it would happen. Tunisia, when the gentleman set himself on fire and the Arab Spring began, the Egyptian dictator had been in power for 30 years. Nobody could try him. They thought it was a joke. In 1997, Suharto, who had perfected the art of suppression, we have seen dictators all over the world. I like what Governor Okorocha said. He's nothing. But at the moment, that nothing is about to bring something disastrous to Nigeria. I have elevated him to a glorified common public servant in whose hands Nigeria's fate is in it. He is not Mahmoud Jega. Nobody is going to be Orubebe there. And he should change his attitude, change his thinking, and come back into life and do what is needful. What I'm saying in summary, it is legal, it is constitutional, and it has been provided for. The cancellation that we have called for is not unforeseen, it is very normal. Cancellation is very normal, it is within the law. Has even been provided for 25th February 2023 presidential elections have been called upon by all the people we have listed, all the organizations we have listed, international, African, national. Do not, for God's sake, ignore this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I would invite you once again because there is a breaking news and we need to respond to it quickly. Thank you.
Hey, take it easy now.
Sorry, I have to come back to the microphone because at the moment the collation has resumed at the ICC. That's perhaps the INEC chairman says he will continue with the process. And also because you have raised this issue, because you have asked him and you said you hope that he listens, there is a press statement coming from the INEC chairman's office by his press secretary who says that asking him to step aside, that is impossible, and that there is no sense in asking him to step down. Aside that, he also says that any other thing that needs to be done has to be done along the line of the Constitution, and you should wait for the process to be concluded. Finally, there was a point that was being raised as to the peace of the country, and perhaps what you are asking for is going to raise violence and disturb the peace of the country. I would like your reaction to that.
I did not ask for Mahmoud Yakubu to step down, neither did our party. We are specific and very, very categorical on cancellation of elections. Whoever, in fact, we need Mahmoud Yakubu there to do the job. and afterwards, he can continue to serve as INEC chairman, because the law can even be amended for him to be reappointed. Now, this thing about peace and security of Nigeria, I told you, whoever is trying to twist our language will fail. We have been calling for peace right from our campaign days. And we shall continue to call for peace, and we shall continue to call on Nigerians to protect their democratic rights. Nobody here called for anything, uprising, but nobody did. And whoever is trying to say that those people are the ones calling for the violence, it doesn't make sense to me. Just to tell you again, we are not about Mahmoud Yakubu stepping aside. We don't need his job. So I don't know, do you have anybody who wants a job?
Actually, we have not called, we have only called on him, Mahmoud, chairman of INEC, to please obey the very law that he fought for, along with Nigerians, particularly the civil society organizations. He spoke to us on this severally. He fought for it alongside other Nigerians. We are only asking him to follow the process. There's an electoral act, and he was excited and spoke to the world and spoke to Nigerians concerning it. He promised us that the beavers will be used and that there will be transmission of results in accordance with the Electoral Act 2022. He should do what is right and not destroy this nation. He should do what is right and give hope to our youths and give hope to all Nigerians. What is right is what is right. But apparently he appears to want to toe the line of impunity. We're only just recalling his mind to
what Governor Okorocha just concluded, that is violence, that is crisis. When you are consistently violating the law, resting on the law, and the instruments of government to continue to violate the law. That is what I call violence. INEC is meting out violence in the Nigerian nation. That is violence, not us trying to defend, trying to call him to do the right thing. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have spent enough time here. We've covered all the grants. So thank you so much, Governor Kubwa. Thank you, Dr. Amaechi, for all the useful information we need to know. So, in summary, nobody is calling for violence. It is INEC that is visiting violence on the rest of us. Thank you.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you. Thank you.